I'm not the original anybody because, first of all, I came before Lady Gaga, so I don't know how I could be the original Lady anybody, you know, number one, okay? So let's get real here.
Yeah.
I am who I am today because of Frank Zappa. That is the truth.
Did you like being a Playboy Bunny?
I did, and I was a billiards bunny. I shot pool.
And how's your pool?
Superior. I passed out in 76 and woke up in 77. You gotta remember, I fell 40 feet out of a window.
You were in a coma for a year?
Half a year. Life support.
I'm here with one of my favorite singers of all time, Miss Dale Bozzio.
Hello.
I bought this book not long ago. I love this book. You put a lot of your heart in this book, no?
Are you asking me that?
Yeah.
Or telling me that?
I'm asking because I feel like your heart's really in. Well, let's put it this way.
Yes, I agree.
You're a fellow Pisces like me.
Oh, really?
You're March 2nd.
Right.
I'm March 17th.
Oh,
so I understand your pain. That's where we're going to
Okay.
start this interview.
Okay. Well, now we're on.
No, but as a fan of yours,
level.
but as a fan of yours, I always feel you always led with your heart in your music. Is that accurate?
Yes. Or my pain.
Is that okay? But is that how you are in life? Because that's how I feel, but I don't know that.
Yes. Yes.
So this book.
I think you know more than you say you do now that we know that we're
Pisces.
not birthdays.
We're doing Pisces.
And where we're coming from is on another level. I love that shirt.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, you look fantastic. You look fantastic.
Well, I know how to dress up for you.
Well, thank you very much.
Because you always had true style.
It wasn't, I tell you, the thing about that style and those plexiglass.
We're not, the plexiglass bloobs are on like page 4 of these notes.
Okay, whatever. I'm with you.
We're starting with music.
What about it?
Well, your most recent album, Hollywood Lie, right?
Yes.
So I was curious on that because I felt like you were kind of going for, I don't want to say a retro sound because it's not fair to call your sound retro because you invented that sound. But did you purposely want to make kind of a 80s-ish sounding Missing Persons record? Does it make sense?
That's a big question.
Well, they're all big questions.
I mean, the music is one thing, the attitude's another, the process is one and all, and why you do it is another reason.
Yeah.
So for me,
pick one of those.
So for me, the music, the reason that came out that way, it was, I don't take the intention of sounding any which way for any reason. I'm a non-singer. I come from...
I'm going to argue with you about that, by the way.
Okay, well, I developed into something from nothing.
Right, but that's why you're a great singer.
Well, so I just sort of self-taught in a facet. And so with the music of how that Hollywood Lie ended up was that I said I want to focus on being simple and synchronize my impression of my vocal, of how that will be taken, what impression that is going to set on you when you hear me say these words.
Okay. So you felt that musical backdrop was...
sing to you. I wanted, now, after all I've done, I mean, that's why. I mean, not because I'm a new band and I'm looking for hit number one, bang top, gotta have a riff and kick and what's the glitch? No. That's not the story. I have to succumb to people like you that would say, oh, what? What does this mean? What does this mean?
Well, that's what I'm asking you.
Right. So I guess I did the right thing then.
You made me ask the question, which is what you wanted.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I appreciate that.
I'm curious. We're going back here to the beginning. So you were born in Boston in 1955?
Yes.
Catholic family?
Yes.
How did I know that? I just can feel it.
Because I'm polite.
Italian?
Roman.
Okay. Roman Catholic?
Yeah.
Me too.
My great-grand-uncle of the 7th generation died acting Pope in the Vatican in Rome. My father is Roman, and when I went to Rome on tour with Frank Zappa, he got paperwork for me to be allowed to go into the Vatican to see all the cryogenically frozen popes, because one of them was my name, Consalvi. My father's name is a Roman name, Consalvi.
Did you go in?
Yeah, and that I got because it was on my passport, Consalvi.
So you saw the frozen popes?
I saw all the frozen popes.
Was it wild?
Terry Bozzio came with me, and Terry says, can we take a Polaroid? I'm like, Terry, you're serious, right? We went in with scarves on. Terry said, get the scarf up over his nose. It pumps like this. And all these popes are above your head, like eye level, up in these clear caskets, dressed to the nines in their pupa. And they're all their
Did you see
suits.
your ancestor?
Yeah. And I stood right next to him. And so we leave, we do all this stuff, paperwork, sign to get in, get out, and all this stuff. Yeah. And then Consalvi, the Pope, is all over the Vatican. He's in the walls, the whole 9 yards, right? So we go back to Frank's, the hotel, and Frank Zappa says to Terry, well, does she look like the Pope? Terry goes, she looks exactly like him. She looks exactly like him. They stood standing next to each other. I couldn't believe it. So Terry, that's what was like the biggest joke, because prior to going on that tour, I had fallen out of a window, but I had made Joe's Garage. I was never in Frank's band.
Yeah.
I only made records with Frank.
Yeah.
So because I made Joe's Garage with Frank, then he was thinking of doing all this other stuff. So he took me on the tour with him.
This is 70...
It's like 79, 78. And
my father, by the way, my father was a musician. He was obsessed with that record. So I heard that record a lot.
Oh, no, really?
Yeah, my dad was a stoner drug dealer type who would listen to Zappa.
Was his middle name Dale?
Yes. Did you know that?
I did. I noted that.
William Dale Corgan.
Yeah, that's a very, very...
There you go.
Very staunch, very
do you know what is
name.
Is Dale Gaelic, or is it?
Dale only really means a small valley. That's it. That's what it means. But I personally was named after Dale Evans, the woman. Of course. That was the singer cowboy, very famous back then in the 50s.
Yeah.
So that's what...
Who was kind of the paragon of virtue.
And that was sort of what...
So, young Catholic girl growing up in Boston. Is family religious or just kind of in name only?
No, my family, my father... Wasn't that he believed in God and thought God was watching us upstairs? Yeah. He thought God lived on the 3rd floor of our house. But he met me at the breakfast table with a 45 and a glass of whiskey. So I don't know how happy he was with that. Right. And, it seemed all right to me. I mean, it seemed like the normal thing to do.
Right.
He cooked me a 5-course breakfast. Lunch was waiting. Dinner was like, so you could smell it down the block.
What did your daddy do?
My father was a builder.
Okay.
A builder and a carpenter for a lot of really different... No.
Oh, so non-union.
Yeah.
Was that hard in Boston?
Never paid a day in tax.
Okay.
And
now I feel your flow now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And my father had a semi full of Chesterfield cigarettes and Lucky Strikes in the driveway. And the other semi...
And some friends.
Yeah. And the other semi was full of whiskey.
Yeah. So, no training as a singer. Yeah, right? I mean, did you sing when you were young, though?
Yeah, I used to fake it and sing the Pied Piper in the window. I'm the Pied Piper, follow me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you sang along to the radio type thing.
Yes.
But you never saw yourself as a singer.
No, I wanted to be a movie star.
Okay. And who'd you admire as a movie star?
Veronica Lake, Jean Harlow.
Have you met the guy here who's the Jean Harlow expert?
No.
I could introduce you to him. A friend of mine is one of his friends. He has the greatest Jean Harlow collection. I think he has her car. He has all this crazy stuff of Jean Harlow's.
Oh, Lord.
He even has, when she would do her makeup, and like they would, like a woman will do like
they kiss her lips, yeah.
But he has the original tissues.
Tissue?
Oh
my God.
So if you want me to introduce you to this gentleman,
okay.
He's like the leading Jean Harlow expert in the world, and wrote a book on her. And
that's insane.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord.
So Jean Harlow.
Oh yeah. Veronica Lake.
Veronica Lake.
You know,
with the peekaboo, right?
Yeah, I admired all those. Though the
Did you
movie,
want to be like a film noir type of actress, or?
I watched the movies with my father till it went off on the
Sure,
tube when I was growing up, because we didn't have the availability that you have now
Yeah.
of what this movies.
But what was it
What
about?
I saw were the black and whites with these women that all had blonde hair that appeared to me with these skinny little dresses on, had like fancy cars and fur coats, and were always smiling and drinking. And I thought, okay,
That looks fun.
that's what I want to
Okay.
be.
Okay. So, did you like girl groups? I mean, what was the kind of music you did like?
To be honest with you, I'm really not a musically based person of life. I'm more.
You're not a music listener?
Movies, no.
Oh, okay.
I watch many movies. I could digest 10 to 12 movies if I had to. I have so many movie channels. I watch more movies than I could. I have to catch up.
My wife laughs because I only watch like 30s movies. That's me.
Well, listen, I watch the 40s movies.
You're more 40s, yeah?
Yeah, I'm more 40s movies, because when I was growing up in the 55s, I was watching the movies that
those
were
would have
made
been on
prior
television.
to.
Yeah.
You got to remember the movies I'm watching.
What are some of your favorite 40s movies?
I can't even remember off the top of my head right now. You know, you got to remember I fell 40 feet out of a window.
Okay, but What year did you fall out the window?
I was 21. It was 1970, September. Listen, I wrote the book for 3 reasons. Let me just clear this up with you. Yeah, this book.
We're plugging now.
That you keep asking me these in leading questions.
We're just getting started.
To my life. But the reason I wrote that book is for one of the reasons. On September 10th, 1976, I fell out of a window.
Right.
From downtown LA, Los Angeles, of Holiday Inn.
Now, is the story that somebody was trying to come in and hurt you or rape you, or
they were going to kill me? Basically, that's what the guy told me.
Did you know this person, or
no? It was a security guard, and he told me that he was going to kill me, and I forget that word. And I suppose you run for help, right?
And
so I ran for help, opened the window,
and you are a little thing.
Well, it's just a little girl. I had actually gold cowboy boots on. You know, I was just regularly watching Johnny Carson. My cousin had just had an asthma attack. Anyway, make a long story short, I fell out the window. This was just weeks after I finished making Joe's Garage, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now my life ends. I slip into a coma. I wake up in Frank Zappa's living room. Coma again, shipped me to Boston, life support. I wake up, I'm a year older.
You were in a coma for a year?
Half a year, life support.
Were you in and out, or you were out?
Oh, no, out.
So for 6 months, you're out?
Oh, no, 8, close to, yeah.
Do you remember anything from being out, or were you just out?
No, I was out for a long time.
But I'm saying, were you dreaming during this period, or you're just out?
Out.
Wow.
Blank.
So it's a miracle you're here.
Life supports, medicine. Well, yeah. I broke my kneecap, broke my floating ribs, and split my head open. 52 stitches. And really a miracle to be alive.
Wow.
Pretty much. And so I wanted that stated to the world more so, and then recorded in my own words to say what happened.
Is that where the window song?
Yeah, it's where all the songs really come from. That's when I wake up and I write Destination Unknown.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. Oh, really? Is that what happens?
Yeah.
You clearly black out, and that's it. And there's nothing. Nothing. And when I woke up, it all came back, and it came back really fast.
I see.
And smashingly. And for 6 months, I was blind because of the concussion and the whole coma, blah, blah. And so then Frank Zappa rang my mother's home phone under the clear blue sky and said, we're going on a tour to Europe. Want to come with me tomorrow? I'm like, this is when home phones, right? And I said, yes, Frank. Okay, I'll go. I basically think it was 77 now, because that's when I woke up. I passed out in 76 and woke up in 77. And so Frank called, and
You weren't married at this point yet, right?
No, I only knew Terry at the beginning. At the beginning, we had a relationship. And Terry always said it should have been a one-night stand, and weren't they all?
Sounds like a drummer.
Yeah, exactly. Really doesn't surprise me. No, I love Terry Bozzio.
Yeah.
Love Terry Bozzio. I told him then he would be one of the greatest drummers in the world. Had to convince him night after night after night after night. There's some things that just a woman knows. I told him.
Yeah.
But I had an incredible time with Terry, So what happened then, I met Terry and Frank in the airport in New York. And the next day, my mother thought I lost my mind. I'm on morphine. I'm like, I got headaches. I go, yeah, well, no more CAT scans for me, babe. See you later. I gotta go. And I just said, I'm not gonna die. Everything's all right. And I left. And that was it. And Frank just said, come on, let's go. Going to Europe. And we get to every single lunch, dinner. The waitress man would come. He'd say, okay, this is Dale. Now, she just fell 40 feet out of a window, and she wants shrimp and cookies. Let's get that. And the whole band would sit there and go, he's not doing this. He's not literally and he did every...
Did you want shrimp and cookies?
Yeah, I did.
Why shrimp and cookies?
That was the only thing I could think of. He put me on the spot so many times. He said, what do you want to eat? What's your favorite things to eat? I go, I don't know, Frank, shrimp and cookies. And I couldn't live it down. I swear to God. I swear that by the time we get to the end of the tour, it was like 3 months later.
How skinny were you at this point?
The waitress came and the whole band went, she wants shrimp and cookies. It was hysterical.
Oh, my goodness.
I guess she had to be there.
No, it sounds...
It was insane.
It sounds Zappa-esque.
I had the most impressionable times with Frank.
Mm-hmm.
Frank threads the whole book.
Yeah.
That's why I'm telling you this story. Yeah. Frank saved my life. Frank made me an icon. Mm-hmm. I am who I am today because of Frank Zappa. That is the truth.
What do you think?
Nothing more than that.
Outside of the musicality in you, which I want to talk about, what did Frank see in you?
Well, that's something else.
Okay, but I want to get to that. But what did Frank see in you as a person, you think?
You could hear the timbre in my voice when I speak. You hear that edge? That's what Frank heard.
No, but I want to understand what he saw in you as a person.
That's what he said.
Okay, but I want to...
He said, I hear it.
Well, of course he would hear it.
I hear you. I hear you.
Oh.
And he'd say, you are hysterical. And that's it. And
So you feel like he understood you?
The day I met him, I climbed up 3 flights of the Orpheum Theater in Boston, the fire escape, and I climbed in the window, and I opened the door, and Frank was standing there. And he looked at me, and he went, how did you get in here? I said, Frank, I climbed in the fire escape, and I climbed in the bathroom window. He went.
Like a Beatles song?
He said, you didn't do that. I said, there's the bathroom. I did. He knew it was the bathroom because it was a backstage bathroom. There was one bathroom, one window, and you couldn't get in and out of there except through the fire escape. He started laughing hysterically. He laughed hysterically.
Well, why did you climb in through the window to see
Frank Zappa?
Frank
Because I had to
Zappa?
see the concert.
Were you a Zappa fan?
I was a Zappa fan at the time.
Were you one of those? Were you one of those stoner Zappa fans?
Yes, I was a hippie originally, so I was completely into Frank's oddity, and it wasn't, and it was either that or Tavares, because I loved dancing disco.
The soul band,
yeah. I'm
what was their big hit?
Disco queen.
Okay.
Heaven Must Be Missing an Angel. Yeah. So,
Tavares.
Yeah. I'm the biggest fan ever, So, but then, I switched to the other side and get a little kind of like,
prog,
interesting. And I listened a little more to Frank and go, he's really playing it himself.
Yeah.
And like go, okay. So anyway, as it went on, my relationship with Frank grew because by the time, that was 16 when I met him through the dressing room window.
16 years old.
Yes. Now, he asked me out to the dinner. I go out to the dinner. He asked me into the hotel room. I say, Frank, I can't go in the hotel room. I don't even have a driver's license. I'm driving this car. I can't go to your party. I'm 16. He said, you're right. You can't go to the party. And he kissed me on the forehead. And he walked away and said, goodbye. I'll see you again. I just looked at him, lit up a joint, and drove away crying, thinking, that's not possible. I was 16 that day. And he was doing some big tour at the time, 12-piece orchestra. I end up being 21. I'm in California, and I'm in the Playboy magazine. I'm Playboy Bunny of the Year for Boston.
I stop you there. How do you become Playboy Bunny of the Year?
Hefner has to pick you.
So you were just picked out of a lineup.
He gets all these photographs because he's the editor, and he picks who thinks.
Did you like being a Playboy Bunny?
I did.
It was kind of, there was a bit of prestige to it back then.
Absolutely, in Boston.
Yeah. You wore the costume with the tail.
Yes, I did.
Do you have pictures of you like this?
I do. And I was a billiards bunny. I shot pool.
And how's your pool?
Superior. Absolutely.
Do you used to like take the marks?
I won every game. That was it. I think I made more money then than I do now.
Pool shark.
Absolutely.
I never knew you were a pool
my
shark.
brother taught me how to play pool down the basement.
Down in the basement.
He was 9 years older than me, and he was a pool shark. And I wasn't going to tell anybody that I was playing pool with my
That's
brother.
the gimmick. Let them think they're going to beat the little girl up in pool.
I knew everything about the sticks and the.
Do you still play?
I haven't played lately, but I can, you know. It's interesting though, right? When your childhood mechanisms. I was still a kid. I was hired to be a Playboy Bunny the day I turned 18.
Right.
So I was a bunny from 18 to 21, and by the time I got to 21, Hefner called me to come to California.
Right.
When I came to California, Hefner wouldn't come downstairs from his balcony, and I kind of flipped out because I'm from Boston and I have an edge and an attitude. And I said, I have a previous engagement. I got to go.
Yeah.
And I walked out of the mansion, and that was my day that I was going to be Valentine at the front door, move in, be a centerfold, blah, 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 blah. And I walked out. I had like this anxiety attack, turned around and walked out, grabbed my Playboy magazine from the secretary and left. And I said, okay, keep going. There was no turning back. I turned on. I was driving a Firebird. It was the 1972.
Had you driven out in the car?
5-speed. Recaro seats.
Yes. So you driven out and
me drove it with two Playboy bunnies in the back seat. Navy blue, rag top down, black interior, 5-speed.
Always styling.
I blew from Boston to Hefner's house. Now he wouldn't talk to me.
Yeah.
And I was a little off.
Right.
I peeled out of that fucking mansion at about a fucking 190. You know, I was so mad. I couldn't even shift the car. I was going so fucking fast. I pulled out of there and I went, oh, that's really great. Where are you going to go now? You know, I have this other side of me. You know what I mean? I really do. I have this like Dale over here shoulder going, I know, I'm like that commercial on TV. You do it, no,
It'd be
don't.
good if it was Dale Autry, actually.
Yeah, like, there's a couple of
like
things.
on the horse, like,
yeah,
you know,
exactly.
you're going the wrong way.
I got to kind of get that attitude, you know? Like, if things don't go my way, not that I don't mean it, but I exit because it could be dangerous. I see things differently than people do. Yeah. And in an extreme emergency, you want me. Mm-hmm. You want me. I'll save you.
Well, you've survived death.
I will go. I'm like the fireman that runs into the fire.
Okay.
Like the firemen laugh about that.
Is this where you end up going to find Frank Zappa? Is this?
Yeah. This is what happened. That's what happened. And
that same day?
Yeah. It was 15 minutes later. I'm on SIR, Studio Instrumental Lots in Hollywood.
But why'd you go there?
Because I had a guitar player that was just up and coming, and he told me he was going to be there if anything went wrong. And he lived on North Orange Drive in California, and I was sleeping on his couch the day before I was supposed to move into the mansion.
Got it.
Okay, so now I get to this lot. I'm on E. I'm in black leather head to toe. I'm this little blonde girl, you know. I came here from Boston. I get like my black leather jacket in the back car. I didn't know it was going to be 95 degrees.
Sure.
I walk on the lot. I hear this music playing, and I know it's Frank because I know Frank's music. I look over to the door. The door has a sign on it, big letters. If you value your life, do not open this door.
So you open the door.
I open the door. I open the door. There's Frank. He's looking at me. He says,
Did he recognize you?
yeah. He says, what are you doing here? I went, Frank, you recognize me? He goes, yeah, you just opened the door. Yeah, from Boston. What are you doing here? I go, well, now, that was 16 when he met me.
Yeah, so this is 5 years later.
Yeah. I'm like, Frank, you remember me? He goes, yeah, what are you doing? What are you doing? You know, I'm just standing there in black leather head to toe holding a Playboy magazine. The last time I saw him, I had green hair with a mini skirt and a marabou top on, right? With these, like, spiked shoes. And he goes, okay. I go, well, I just left Hugh Hefner's house. I don't have a job. I have no money. The gas is on E. I'm not parked in a good space, and I'm really hungry, Frank. And he...
Is the band all sort of sitting there? Is this
the band's right there.
Yeah.
It's Eddie Jobson, okay?
Yeah.
It's Eddie Jobson. Over there is Patrick O'Hearn and Terry Bozzio. They're right there, right? And I'm standing there like I'm sweating because it's like it's such an incredible story. You know, like I'm right there, like I'm right there. And I go, Frank, I look at the whole thing, I go, really sorry to interrupt, Frank. I kind of like start walking backwards. He goes, no, wait. You need a job? I go, yeah, I do, Frank. I need a job. I said, I've got to go call my mother. I got to get Western Union. You know, I got to go back to Boston. You know, I drove here.
Yeah.
He said, you drove here? I said, yeah, I drove here. He said, okay, there's an Apple over there, and I'm going to put you on the payroll tomorrow. You're going to be Mary. You're going to be Mary from Joe's Garage, and I need Mary, and you're my Mary. And I went, but Frank, I came to Hollywood to be
an actress,
a movie star.
Sorry, movie star, not actress.
I don't know how to sing. He started laughing hysterically. He fell down on the floor laughing on his knees, like literally holding his head, okay? It was the most incredible scene you've ever seen in your fucking life. Frank Zappa just literally laughing his fucking ass off, like literally. And those three over there didn't know what the was going on, right? They thought I was his girlfriend, right? So Frank goes, okay, you're on the payroll.
Here's
Mary!
Here's an apple.
And he's telling them, Mary's here. It's Mary. You know, he's like so happy, you know.
And you never sang professionally a day in your life?
No. I'm like, Frank, you don't understand, Frank. Frank, I don't even know how to sing. I'll do housekeeping. And he just kept laughing. He just kept laughing. And I'm like, okay. He said, it's $500 a week. You can't refuse. It's insurance and dental. And I'm looking at him like, that's not a movie contract, man. You know? I love you, babe, but I don't know about that, right? So I'm like, okay, Frank. All right, Frank. See you later. You know, wow, what? You know what I mean? I just walked in out of the clear blue sky. He goes, no, wait. Terry Bozzio is going to take you to the studio tomorrow morning. You sleep at Terry's tonight. I go, I sleep at Terry's tonight? Okay, all right. Talk to you later. Gotta go.
So we even found your future husband.
Right, exactly. And right then and there, Terry and I became an item.
Did you know right away about Terry?
I know. I was going along with the program.
No, I get that, but I'm saying sometimes women have a way of knowing something about a man before the man figures it out.
I know, no. I knew that I really appreciated him, and I knew that he was so talented. He was. I could. And he was a precious human being. I wasn't really planning. I wasn't planning to get married. I wasn't planning on any of those things. I wasn't planning on being in a rock band. Really.
Well, that's what's so beautiful about the story. You met Terry in 1976?
Yes.
And you were married in 79.
Yes.
Parents approve?
They loved him.
Oh.
But my parents were separated when I was very small. I had a very estranged family.
Right.
My mother was very odd, and my father, they were separated, and my father dedicated his life to me and took care of me, and she went on with her life to do whatever it was that she thought that she had to do.
So you didn't really grow up with your mother?
No.
From what age on?
9.
Mine was 4.
Really?
Yeah.
Where did your mother go?
Insane asylum.
Oh, okay. So you understand the heavy tone that lays on your heart and your life.
Very much so.
So, okay. So, well then, okay, well, you can relate to this. Not that I'm trying to top your story.
No.
But
We're
my
just sharing.
mother, I used to think that my grandmother was my mother. And my grandmother died at 62. But my mother was always so wild and crazy, and she would make amends for my mother the whole time. And I didn't know till I found my mother's death certificate that my mother was born in a prison, because my grandmother was 15 when she delivered my mother, and they took her from Canada to Lawrence, Massachusetts, and they put her in a prison so she would deliver the baby. And then they took the baby away from her and put my mother in a nunnery. And my mother grew up with nuns till she escaped. She escaped when she was 16 and went haywire. Ran into my father on the corner in the middle of a snowstorm in Boston. He was 20 or so, 18 years older than her. He picked her up off the curb and saved her little ass.
Right.
And took her home and took care of her. And
are your parents still with us?
No, my father was born in 1910. He'd be 114 today.
Well, it's possible.
Yeah, and my mother passed away at 85. She just kind of just coughed and stated some incredible poems while she was going to die. And she was more like a butterfly than a mother. She was always, I remember her just dancing and singing and thinking that she was the movie star.
Yeah.
And she was really beautiful and blonde and ice blue eyes. I write a song about her on my new record. It's called Ice Blue Eyes. And how cold she is.
Right.
And how fame isn't so much just fame, but fame is a word that makes you burn inside for something you long for, that you think you want, that you don't have.
That's true.
And you'll never really know till you get it, and then you find out it isn't anything.
I went through the same thing.
Right?
And
that's how I saw her.
I see.
Not me. That's how I saw her.
Did she, when you were successful, did she...
Yeah, she came back.
But I'm saying, was she jealous? Was she supportive? Was she...
She couldn't tell. She's such a mystery to me. I want to be honest with you, because I hear what you just told me.
Yeah.
And I have sympathy for that. But I know where your mind goes. I know you're trying to keep it all straight.
Yeah.
And you're going to have one eye open and keep watching over your shoulder and behind your back. I know that attitude. I know that feeling. And I know that despair almost when there's nobody there but yourself.
Yeah.
And that's it. And you always end up with yourself. But I feel that from you, and I feel that that's why you reap kindness and like caring and you want to fix things.
I do want to fix things. So you're in love and you're married. What age were you married at?
Whoa. I'm thinking 27.
Okay, somewhere in there, yeah.
Yeah.
So did you feel like, because of your family circumstance, did you feel like you'd found sort of the right situation for you? Or was it very much, as we can get into life, you're on this journey and that's... Okay,
Never got the love. Don't know.
Huh.
No. I say it a lot because I know the most important thing, or two important things, is saying to someone to care for them, is to say I love you and that I'm proud of you.
Yeah.
And so I do that because I'm incorrigible, because I know how hard it is to find courage.
Right.
Have to go so deep down into the dirty rinds of your past to be courageable.
Yeah.
And so I try to give people a little piece of something that maybe they don't have to even look any further for.
Yeah.
And they can kind of go, oh,
yeah,
she loves me? She doesn't even know me. But I said it. And when you say it, you kind of can't take it back.
I'm not trying to be gossipy, but I'm just trying to understand the dynamic, because here in this relationship with this savant drummer, I know Terry a little bit. He's definitely his own person. You know what I mean?
Terry's a genius. Terry's a genius. As they come, Terry's an incredibly calculated genius. And he is one of the top 10 greatest drummers in the world.
Wouldn't argue with you.
He learned how to play the drum on hitting a dime. And he does not click his drumsticks. He is beyond
Oh, no, he's
a
savant.
battery.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
savant. Yeah.
absolutely.
Absolutely.
I know a lot of geniuses, and I kind of reflect most of my relationships have been with genius-type people, and I understand their
But I want to talk
fragility.
about your genius. I know there's the sort of thing about where Frank encourages you in the band and stuff. But what was the sort of the organic part of this? Like, you're married to this great musician. At what point does it start to become a thing like, we should have a band? Was it something you joked about, or?
It was no joke.
No, because my wife is on me to start a band.
Okay, well, that's great.
Yeah, it's fine. And I'm happy to do a band. But I'm saying is, couples have a way of talking about things that sometimes they happen, sometimes they don't.
Yeah, no, it wasn't like that at all. Actually, it wasn't like that. It was more between Warren and I, Cucurullo.
Okay. And Warren was in the Zappa world.
Warren was hired by Frank.
Right.
Now, so Warren is just working with Frank. And so Terry goes on tour with UK.
Right. Which was that Phil? Who wasn't he?
That's John Wetton and Eddie Jobson.
Yeah. Okay, right.
The three of them. And they go to Europe and they do this tour.
Did you like that music? It was so super
Yeah,
proggy.
no, super hi-fi. Yeah, I loved it. You know, I do like that music. I prefer music with no vocals, personally.
Really?
Yes, yes. In the strange sense of the way. It really disturbs me when I have to hear music to movies. I get distracted, and I'm listening. I'm listening to the beat.
I see.
I
get you.
Can't get it, can't lose it, I've got a song 24/7 in my head. It's out, I'm on a major tape loop. Funny thing.
I'd like to hear that tape loop.
Well, the funny thing is, I'll tell you this really quick, but I meet Prince in this disco, Tramps, okay? I see him over there, and I just walk in the front door with my friends, just casual, going to hang out. See him, I go, oh my God, it's Prince over there. So I walk directly over to him. I poke him on the nose. He see his back like this. Two bodyguards go, what?
He had the biggest bodyguards I've ever seen.
Right, well, 10 times.
There was the one guy that was this wide.
Yeah, bigger than him, for sure. And I'm like, oh. I said, I'm sorry. I just wanted to ask you to dance. You're the best dancer in the place. He turned around, and the body guy goes, and we walked out, and they started playing Red Corvette. Stopped what was playing, turned on Red Corvette. He starts dancing with me. Stop dancing.
That's the first time you met him?
Yeah, yeah. We sit down, and he goes, hey, do you have a car? I go, I got a car out front. He goes, oh, really? What kind of a car is it? I go, it's a Corvette. What color? I go, it's red. He goes, will you take me for a ride? I go, right now? I just got here. He goes, yeah, let's go. I had to go. I had to leave. Yeah, I go, okay, let's go. So we go outside, and I pull up. He pulls up the limousine. I pull up the red Corvette. He comes and jumps in the red Corvette. He goes, can you drive me really fast? I'm looking at this guy going, holy dude,
By the way, he's smaller than you.
Yeah, we're the same exact size.
He was smaller than you, though. take off the high heels.
Yeah, well, yeah. I have to say he kept his shoes on for all activities. I will not deny it. I will not deny it. And he says, you got to come over. I got to play you something. I got to play you some music. I go, really?
What town is this in?
We're in Beverly Hills,
Okay.
right here in California. I go, okay. He goes, but drive me really fast. You're talking to the wrong person. You're talking to the wrong person. It's the 5-speed Corvette, right?
Yeah.
So I'm at Wilshire in Santa Monica. I'm at 120 by the time I get to Westwood, okay? He's fucking screaming, stop, stop. I scared the shit out of him. I couldn't believe it. So I pull over. You know, when you're driving, you think you're in control. You know what I mean? So I pull over. I slow down. I go slow. He goes, okay, go slow now. Okay, don't do any more stop signs. Just go the regular speed. I go, okay, it's okay. Which way to your house? Get to his house. We go upstairs. We go in these. He's having a full-fledged party. There's 100 people in there. I'm going, what is going on here? You're at the fucking club and there's a party going on over here?
Yeah.
He goes, yeah, I couldn't stand it anymore. I'm like, okay, all right, whatever. And so it was just ironic that we met.
Yeah.
He goes, please come upstairs. So I go upstairs, go into this room. It's got this big, huge white house, white everything, white carpet, white everything.
I heard he had like white everything.
White tent in the bedroom, white and everything, white piano. I'm like, okay, what are we doing here? And I'm thinking, oh, do I have enough blow to deal with this fucking time over here? I didn't plan on coming over Prince's house. I was supposed to go back into my fucking left my friends flat and dry, just screwed. Right? So I go, I gotta lay in the ladies' room. I go in the bathroom and I'm like snorting all the coke I have left. And I'm going, oh my God, what am I doing here? I walk back out and he goes, listen, sit down right there. I go, okay. It was one single little bed, all in white. I sat on the edge of the bed. I had no idea what he was going to do. He said, 8 hours. I need you for 8 hours. You, me, and you? Okay, you got me. I wasn't going to say no to Prince. I don't think so. He said, okay, stay right there. He went over. He had this fucking music system. Like tapes like this, like what from the studio, I've seen them. It turns this crank and it starts and it's Windows. My song. It's my song. And I go,
he's got your song on the tape thing.
these big fucking master fucking tapes. I was like, I started laughing. I go, oh, that's Dale. He goes, yeah, you got 8 hours? I go, yeah, I got 8 hours. He made me listen to my music for 8 hours. 8 hours, okay? He danced around the piano. He went downstairs and brought me back up lasagna. He came back with wine. I was like, this isn't really happening. I was halfway fucking passing out, right? But literally, the sun came up and kept coming up. And I was like, okay, listen, I gotta go home now. Okay? I gotta go home. I gotta go home.
My dad used to say, you know, he would always add, so you got Daled out.
Yep.
Right?
Hysterical.
You got Daled out.
Blew my mind. Anyway, I pushed him down on the bed and had a sexual encounter with him and took him over the edge, I think somewhere he never went before. And he got on the floor and begged me to marry him and go to Las Vegas right then and there. And I said, no, I'm not going to do that to you. I'm my own identity, and so are you. And I'll help you everywhere you go. And I'll be your friend for the rest of your life. And he said right then and there.
Very Pisces thing of you to do, by
Yeah,
the way.
of course. I would never. I didn't want to hurt his feelings.
Yeah.
I was trying to ease his pain, is what I was doing. And I believe I did.
Yeah.
I took him out of that being afraid. He was afraid.
Yeah.
He was so afraid. I believe he was a voyeur, really. Of all his love affairs, had the most beautiful women. Apollonia, I know personally. Beautiful. You can't buy her beauty.
Yeah.
And her kindness and her care. and her sensation. It just, he
Okay.
was somewhere else.
Stop right there because we have to go back to you.
Here I am.
And Terry Bozzio.
Terry, listen, I love Terry because I just love it. I'm enamored, I think.
Okay. But the band, how do we get to the band?
Frank said one day, we were in the kitchen having peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
At the Zappa
At
compound?
Frank's house. We went there every night of the week, 5 nights of the week.
Let me ask you this. Was being part of Zappa's world, it was like a family, right?
Absolutely.
So you're part of the family.
Absolutely.
And you're just in his world.
Absolutely. I didn't listen to other music. That's why Shane asks me, my son, don't you know this? Don't you know that? Yeah. Did you ever see blah, blah, blah? Did you ever go? And I go, no. Like, I never met these people or got to meet them or see them or hear the music. We were Frank Zappa because Terry was working for Frank at the time. Warren was working for Frank at the time. Yeah. I wasn't working for Frank. I was just there. I made Frank laugh hysterically, as I've said. And that's why he kept me on the payroll. Yeah. Because I'm not replaceable. And I gave him the news of everything that was happening all over the world.
Yeah, so you were like his...
Yeah, I was the one that came in and told him who died today, what happened in England today. I knew everything that was going on. I'm a sponge when it comes to news and everything that's going on, like firsthand news, CNN. And he was a big fan of CNN. That's what he had on in the studio at the time. You know, we didn't have the channel as
it's not like now.
You know, right. So he really respected that of me because I was up on what was happening of the time. Sure. Not music.
Okay, but how do we get to the band?
Frank said this afternoon while we were eating the peanut butter and jelly. Listen, I got it. You three put a band together. I'll pay for it. You call it the Cute Persons.
You call it the what?
The Cute Persons.
The Cute Persons.
I think what was like the moment of shock, I could feel it for myself because I wasn't a musician. Yeah. I was so along for the ride. Right. And here I am getting my moments. It's Frank putting me in a rock band. Are you fucking kidding me? They'll listen to me now, won't they? Sure they will. Yeah. Yeah. They'll pay attention to me now, finally. Because I'm telling you, you got to write a song called Destination Unknown. Because I fell out a window and I know a few things. And they finally started to listen to me. And and Frank said, okay, take my studio. I'm going to New York. Take this address right now. It's the address of Ken Scott.
Who produced...
He lives down the street.
With Pink Floyd and the Beatles and Bowie, right? That Ken Scott.
He just finished doing Let's Dance with Bowie. Okay. That week. He said, here, go to this address right now. Finish your sandwich. He finished that sandwich. I go, Frank, right now? He said, yeah. He said, if you have to, climb over the fence. He'll be at the pool getting a tan. Like, you know, Frank was always sarcastically, like, incredibly funny beyond anybody else. So, make a long story short, I go, Terry and Warren, he said, look, I'm leaving. Day after tomorrow. Take my studio, go get him. I said, let's go. Terry said, now? I said, yeah, let's go, right now. We drove right over there, went outside, got in the B210 Datsun, and drove right down the street to Ken's house, pulled up. I said, just wait right here. I get to go to the fence, I see him, he's sitting at the pool. There's a fence, it's like 2 feet tall. I can take the boom box, and I climb, I have Warren give me the boom box, and I climb over the fence. Walk up, and he's sitting down there with the goggles on, and he can see me. And I go, excuse me, Ken Scott. Jumps. He's like, what the fuck? What are you doing in here? My yard.
Does he know you at all?
No. Oh, girl is dressed like a Zulu with a freaking boom box. I go, I gotta play this. He goes, play me what? I go, listen, Frank Zappa just sent me over here. Don't get mad. But Frank Zappa sent me over here. He told me to climb over the fence because you'd be getting a pool, tan at the pool. So You got to hear this record. It's a hot new record. And the day after tomorrow, you can come over to Frank's brand new studio. He's got a Kurtz Weil and everything for free. Please come over and make this record demo with us. Please, I'm begging you. He just looked at me. He took his towel down. He was like, this is kidding me. He stood up. He goes, he put his towel on. He had his skivvies on, you know. He put his towel on. He goes, let's get out of the sun. I walk over there. He goes, hit play. He just, like, it was not.
What was the song?
It was I Like Boys.
Mm-hmm.
Words. Hello, I Love You. And Walking in LA.
Okay.
He just got through the first song and stopped. He said, who is that? I said, it's Terry Bozzio. Brand new, #1, next new drummer of the world. Born Cucarulo. Frank's giving us everything for free. Can you do it? He said, yep, I'll do it.
Well.
He said, but do me a favor, go out the front door. He took me to the front door, open it. See you at the studio. Shut the door. Then drove back to Frank's, got in the car, going, he's doing it. We're in. And Terry's going, no, really? Morris, I knew you'd do it. I knew it. He was squeezing my shoulders. Warren was always my cheerleader, you know. We got in bad trouble together, Warren and I.
Yeah.
Warren and I ruined the band. Warren and Terry quit.
Okay, well,
Sorry.
we're not to that point yet. Beautiful first record.
Historic.
Really great.
Yeah, historic.
Really great.
I can't say anything about it, but that's made the world change for me. And Frank said, yep. As soon as he came home from New York and he heard the songs we made, he said, okay, finish the record with Ken. You'll have a record deal now. Go to work.
Mm-hmm.
Have a nice day.
Wow.
He wasn't kidding. I've worked my ass off since then.
That's amazing.
It's a never-ending story.
So how do you go from, I'm not a singer, I want to be a movie star?
Sadly.
No, but...
No, sadly. No, really.
Okay.
No, really. I still watch movies now and think...
But you turned out to
wow.
be a very important singer in my estimation.
I appreciate that. That's really nice. But when you tell that to somebody who wants blue eyes and their eyes are brown...
You still feel that?
You can't take a feeling away out of your person.
No, I get that.
You know, we can subdue them, like our family and our mothers. We can subdue them.
So
we're not leaving that.
When you look back on that period, because obviously it was a great period for you musically, how do you feel about it? Okay, I'm saying it in lieu of what you're saying. Mm-hmm. I'm not asking you to reminisce.
I didn't know that then.
How do you feel about it now?
I didn't know I was making a song that would last for 40 years.
Well,
you know?
Songs.
Yeah, I did. I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea. I was just going along with the program,
mm-hmm.
thinking the next stage was making a movie.
Yeah.
But
did you think you were a strong songwriter?
No, I think I'm a poet.
Okay.
I think I'm a poet.
Okay.
I do. I always thought that.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought that. Right. I have been writing like these intellectual poems, not, you know.
I get it. I know your lyrics enough to know what you mean.
Yeah, that's what I think. That's what I like about myself. It gives me.
But how do you feel about yourself as a singer?
I feel, I don't know what to say there. Why would you ask me that?
Because I think you're a great singer.
Well, that's very nice of you. That's very nice of you. I can sing what I've been taught to sing.
But you were writing those melodies.
Yes, they're very nice melodies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Because I think that what I appreciate about you, and you don't know this. I'm telling you now.
Yeah.
We just met.
Right.
But like a year ago, I found myself listening to you again a lot. Because
Really?
I was in the middle of making a new Pumpkins record.
The melodies, maybe.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Something about the melodies and something about the way you sang sort of drew me back in. I mean, I knew the songs, but I found myself kind of going back for something that I could only get from you. Sorry, let me finish. But
Well, that's very nice. That's very nice of you. I can relate to what you just said.
Yeah.
I'm there.
Right. Well, you're you. What I'm saying is someone who, so, you know, my relationship to you as an artist is in pieces, right? There's me watching you on television in whatever year it was. You know what I mean?
Year.
82 or 83, right?
Yeah.
And you were so ahead of your time in terms of how you presented yourself. You know, there's that. And,
Yeah.
you know, I remember in 82, I'm 14, 15 years old.
Of course.
So
it was the shock factor.
No. There was something about
Well, that's
you.
what we did.
Yes, but I think it's more valuable than that.
Well, you're kind.
I can be, yeah.
You're kind. Yeah, I know that about you.
So
You're very soft spoken. You smooth everything out so politely. You would never.
But here's my point, because I found myself paying a lot of attention to you again, starting about a year ago.
Okay.
And even when I asked me who I wanted to be a guest on the show, you were like at the top of the list.
Well, thank you. I'm flattered.
I hope so. You
I
should
am.
be, because I think you're great.
Extremely flattered.
So
not because I'm great. I'm flattered because you like me.
We'll work on that. But here's my point.
You do like me, don't you?
I think you're fantastic. I mean,
okay, good.
I think you're fantastic. You're everything I hoped you would be. But we're still in this. Let's get through this part. So one thing that really struck me, and I remember seeing it, because again, I'm 14, 15 years old. Now, I think I told you, my father was a musician. So when you grow up in a musical world, you look at music differently than people who aren't in a musical world. My father was super critical of musicians. Like when I was a kid and we'd watch TV, my father would be like, he sucks, he's great, he's terrible. Right? So like I said, my father liked Zappa. So Tim Zappa was good. Everybody else was bad or whatever. So I had these memories of watching you. And when we first met today, you know, you're 5 feet-ish, right?
1 3/4 inch.
God bless. We'll say 5'2" for the sake of posterity.
I do. On my license, I lie.
Very good. Always punk rock. But my point of saying this is, I had this memory of you from back then, but now watching the clips, it's like having a memory over here and then seeing it with modern eyes here, and these pieces came together. And the thing I'm after here is, and I think where you're so important in a way that people don't understand your importance was, not only did you present a really radical image of femininity and freedom at a time where that really wasn't necessarily the case. Now half the world looks like you. I mean, you know that. I mean, you must have noticed.
I recognize a little bit here and there.
God bless. Including some big pop stars, you know, who cribbed from you, like, oh, I'll take that and I'll take that. I'll take that.
Everybody has a stylist, babe.
It's all good, but there's only one OG. And so you're an OG in this one particular way. But the other thing is, and this is what I'm saying about this memory I have as a young person in a musical family watching you and not totally understanding what I was seeing, and now being 57, and now I understand what I was seeing then, and now I can articulate it, and I'm lucky enough to articulate it to you. And that was when you guys played, and I saw you many times on television. When I was a kid, I never went to shows. Everything was through the television. And you guys were on TV a lot for this one particular period of time.
Absolutely, yes.
When you would stand there with your band, you weren't the star, and they were your band. You weren't the cute chickie with the boy band. You were in the band. And maybe that came from being in Frank's world. You were an equal. You, Warren, and Terry.
Yeah,
Does that make sense to you?
Absolutely.
And
a piece of the pie.
But that's so valuable, you know what I'm saying? Because even 9, 10 years later, when we had a woman in our band, people would ask her, what's it like to be a woman in a band? There was this kind of idea of like, why would a woman want to be in a rock band? And yet here you are in 1982, not only you in a rock band, right? one of the greatest drummers in the world. You guys totally kick ass. I would refer anybody to see your performance from the US Festival. You guys are so good live, it's shocking.
That was live.
That's what I'm saying. You guys are so good live, it's shocking how good you are.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Your voice, which on record can kind of sound strange because you have such a unique vocal style. You listen to you live, like you're that singer. It's not like a studio thing. Like you are that singer. Like you completely hold your own in this very muscular, physical band. So I'm forever impressed by that part of your talent.
I have an installed courage from a man's point of view in a man's world. I was raised by an incredible man, my father, that impressed me to be this way. It has all to do with my choices of what I want to do and when I'm going to do it. If I'm going to do it, I'm only going to do it. Yeah, that's right.
So when you look back at you on stage at that time,
I was all me, doing all me at the moment with what I had to do with the pieces I could put together.
right?
Taking apart posters on the wall, having no money to go to the shopping center, having to go to the plastic store and buying a sheet of plastic for $1.50 and some tubing about 56 cents to take home and tie up the poster around me for all of my $5 budget.
Yeah.
Okay? I was working with my crafts.
Yeah.
I was not looking to impress anybody.
But that's what's so beautiful about it.
But that's what happened.
Yeah.
And that's what happens in life when you're doing your thing. When you're just doing you, you become so impressive.
Yeah.
If you do it genuinely. And Frank said to me one day, listen, over another some sandwich in the kitchen that was like smashed together. And he said, one day, those fellas, he pointed to them, they were a stone cold away, Terry and Warren, will become extremely jealous of you. You will rise above and you're going to absorb what the man teaches you, and you will have to replace them. Don't you ever forget that this is all about you. It's always going to be all about you.
Wow.
He said, and remember, don't sing anything you can't sing in front of me. We just went in the studio that day. I went, what? Okay, Frank. He said, remember, Frank is dead and buried. I go to his grave and I say, Frank, I replaced them. I've replaced those replacements, and I'm replacing the replacements. And I'm still singing. It can break me to tears. Because when someone tells you something that you believe, you never forget it.
Yeah. What part of that did you believe?
Every word.
I see.
And I did that. I've done that. I've gone on and had to leave Terry Bozzio, divorce him, replace the greatest musicians that I've ever played with in my life, step over them and keep stepping.
Right.
Why? Because I'm Dale and I do what I do. And that's what I do. If it makes something or somehow an impression on you, well, lucky you. I'm just living my life.
A ruthless Pisces.
It seems that way, but then we melt like an ice cube.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. You're all.
I think that's the outside, like fake Pisces. We're all so big, bold, and tough, and bye. Bye. I love Britney Spears.
Right.
But when we're such cream puffs of the whole thing, but it's astounding the courage that you can find.
Well, that's what I think. But that's when I think of you. Obviously, I'm talking to you now.
But don't you find? Is it? What is that? Like, Because sometimes you can't stop to smell the flowers.
I think I'll give you an honest answer to an honest question. I think that certain people, Pisces do seem to have this more so than most. You have an intuitive sense of a destination, no pun intended, that nobody else can understand. They think you're completely insane. You're going the wrong way. That can't possibly work. Don't do it. Don't step over that body. And,
Right.
and you're guided by something that is a story that you can't even explain. And here we are. Does that sound accurate?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It gives me more time to be a little more eccentric, I suppose.
Yeah. I told you before we started filming that I love your song, Surrender Your Heart to Me. I just think this is such a beautiful song. Maybe it's, I mean, I know your catalog pretty well. It might be your almost sort of, it feels very personal. Does that sound accurate?
Terry wrote that song about Dale.
Oh, I thought it was the other way around. So what part of you wouldn't surrender your heart to Terry?
Ever. Never.
Never surrendered?
I never surrender.
Why do you think that was?
I told you, love is a big question here.
Okay.
Love is a big question. This is all about
Did you ever surrender your heart to anybody other than your children?
No.
Because?
Can't do it.
Because?
Don't know how.
Okay. That's fair.
Okay. Can't go that deep. I'm too rejected and denied and too behind the 8 ball. I'm the ugly duckling at school. I'm the one no one talks to. I'm the one that everybody...
So you still carry that?
I'm the one that everybody said, oh, she's...
So when I tell you how great you are, do you take that in?
I take that scary. I take it like, whoa, it's a shock to me. Because I renown you so... and it's like really? How is that possible?
Because you're amazing.
Well, that seems like impossible.
My favorite artists, there's only one. There's only one you, ever.
That's scary. Yeah, that's what I mean.
But that's the force of your personality.
Yeah,
and your talent.
I mean, thank you. I love you. You know, I love you. Would you want to make my movie?
Sure.
And write the music?
Let's do it.
You could write the music.
Your movie would be amazing. What a movie that would be.
But the thing is, you see, there's so many things about that little girl, Dale, that I think that's what I made that book for, is because having my sons of the ripe age of this atomic world of society that is such a whole nother rainbow for me at this level of my lifestyle. You know, when you get to a different time of age, you sense things differently, of course. As you said, when you look back of being 14, 15, of course, you're going to divulge it rather differently now of all the experiences that you've had. But me personally speaking, I would like everyone to have the information here so they have it from the horse's mouth.
Right.
Because people assume things and they think things that they don't really know the truth.
Well, one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you, besides the sort of selfish desire to meet you, was that
Well, I'm honored.
Thank you. Was I feel like your story's not really been told. And even if you go looking for your story, it's not really accurate. And I'm not talking about this happened, this happened, this happened, but how important you are.
Well, you're very kind, see?
Yeah, but I'm not being kind now.
Okay, well, yeah, you are. I mean,
really,
you're still the same person.
If you were a total sociopathic...
You're the same person I met an hour ago.
Okay, God bless. But if you were a total sociopathic, you know,
I love you.
Selfish artist like most artists are, I would still think you were great. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's...
But part of the reason I think you're great is because of who you are. So, like, when I see you in 1982 standing on some cold TV set somewhere, wearing what you wore, and you had this way, you still have this way of singing, like with your head kind of cocked up like this.
I do, yeah, okay.
But it's, to me, it you know, body language is interesting, right? And your body language on stage was always one of courage. It wasn't defiance. It wasn't you. It wasn't look at me, I'm so great. It was I'm up here. I got my band. and I got my song to sing.
I was very proud of them. I was very proud of those musicians.
Okay, but flip the script. You being on stage with those musicians says something about their faith in you.
But that's how I could do it.
I get that.
Because I gave them my faith first.
Okay.
First, I gave them the praise and the prowess of who they were.
Yeah.
And then I gave them Frank.
Okay.
I gave them more than love. I gave them a life. When you care about the people that are closest to you, you give them your soul.
Right.
Not a car. Okay?
Right.
So what I could do for them, I did of my passion.
Right.
And I knew by being with them, they would make me better.
Right.
They will teach me.
So who's done that for you, though, besides your father?
My father, Frank Zappa, Dale Bozzio, and Prince.
Okay. I was listening to I don't know, it's not fair to call it the Prince record, but the Paisley Park era record today. How do you feel about that now, looking at that music?
I would have liked to brought Prince in.
So he wasn't?
He wouldn't. Yeah, he wouldn't. He said, I'm not coming there. I'm not singing anything. Take my engineer coke, all my guitars, all my stuff. It was all set up. He said, go over there.
Why do you think he didn't help?
He wouldn't. I don't know. He wouldn't. He just said no. Stone cold. He didn't want to be influenced. Me. He didn't want to influence me. And I think I think he wanted to see if I really could do it. I think he was like,
But do you think that's maybe in a way why it didn't work? And I don't mean it's terrible.
No,
it just doesn't
click. No, the
click.
reason, him and I, no, he fired me.
Okay.
He quit the record. He stopped the presses. He stopped everything. He wouldn't. I was number 2 on Billboard, or 4 in European.
You had like a dance hit or something.
Yeah, dance hit. And I was supposed to go to Europe. I was supposed to leave the next day. And instead, my father had a heart attack, and he was in Boston.
Right.
So I took a red eye, and I left. And I went to Boston. I called him from the hospital. And he said, what are you fucking doing? I go, well, my father had a heart attack. I had to come and see him. And I'm in Boston. He goes, no, you're leaving tomorrow for this European. So he flipped out. He started screaming at me, and I'm in like a payphone. And I said, I can't go. I've got to be here with my father. He's going to die. And I had to sign the paper for him because I was only his next of kin, blah, 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 blah. He said, you're fired. It's over. How much money do you want? I said, he said, name me a number. I said, 50,000. He said, tomorrow. And he hung up.
Do you own that record?
Not really.
Who owns that record?
Paisley Park.
Because, they got that weird title on Spotify, like the original Lady Gaga or some weird bullshit title.
Everybody, does that. That's so rude.
No, it's very rude.
I mean, I'm not the original anybody because, first of all, I came before Lady Gaga, so I don't know how I could be the original Lady anybody, number 1, okay? So let's get real here.
Yeah.
No defiance of anything for anybody. I respect everyone that has the courage to do anything in the music business at any given time of day because it's a real hustle. It's not for the faint of heart. This is a real rock and roll gig of life. If you commit yourself to this, you may become famous. You may not become famous, but that's the choice.
You definitely will go crazy.
You have to take the choice to commit or not.
Okay. 2 things to finish. One is from Spring Session M, that's the name of the record, right? 82.
Yes.
There feels like, to me, and I'm saying this as someone who admires you, there seems to be this dissipation of energy. You know what I mean? Like it's a life
means.
There's a ton of life force in the first record. Second record, a little less life force. Third record, a little less.
It's breakdown of the rock band.
Okay, understood. By the time we get to the Prince era record, a little less life force. But sitting here, there's no shortage of life force. Was it that you're in this?
You're only limited to what your availabilities are at the given moment in time.
But I'm asking about your part in it. Are you looking around going, I'm in the wrong place, or this is how it goes, and I'm on this boat and I can't get off? Like, explain to me that, because let me finish my little spiel.
I don't know where you're coming from with the the musicianship and because times changed.
The first record has this tremendous life force to it, and the music and these great songs, are testament to that force. Whether it was your relationship to the boys or whatever, Frank's support. But over time, it seems to get a little bit lost. It's not that it's terrible or not. I mean, there's beautiful music being made, but my sense is something's happening. There's a decline or something being pulled back. Did you feel you were being pulled in different directions? Did you feel like you lost control of something? I'm trying to understand what I hear, because I'm enough of a fan of you to know that if you're all in, that vitality is within the grooves of the music. Mm-hmm. Am I accurate in my assessment?
Absolutely, yes. I think a lot of things with rock bands, maybe not the Rolling Stones, but other bands go through changes, emotions. You grow, you look at things differently, you hear things differently, sure. Almost.
Yeah.
And when
you can't unsee what you've seen, right?
Right. When you're a musician, the music is changing behind you while you're sleeping.
Yeah.
There's new musicians, there's new songs on the radio.
And there's people ripping you off
right
and all
behind you. They're coming up while you're sleeping. You got to be thinking double time. Then you got to go talk to the musicians that are telling you, no, this doesn't go this way. Then you've got a producer that says, squash, squish, box.
Okay, but I'm asking.
That's how they got that way.
Okay, but I'm asking because in my sense, you're all heart.
Absolutely.
Okay, so did you get your heart broken along the way?
Got everything broken. Yeah, everything started going down the drain. No one would listen to me anymore. And I couldn't get my word edgewise. When I came with the songs that I wanted to sing, they said, no, we're not singing those songs. And no, we're getting electric drums, and we're not doing it that way. And we're getting
So let me tell you one other thing that you don't know.
What?
This is between us, but so when I started focusing on you a year ago, I almost picked up the phone because I wanted to write songs with you, because I think you're such a great songwriter.
Thank you. Well, we'll write them now.
Let's do that now. But my point is it's so cool sitting talking to you, because the thing that I identify so strongly in your music is still in front of me. It hasn't gone anywhere. But I also understand that access to that part of you has everything to do with your heart.
Absolutely.
So at least I got that part right.
You're a tuning fork.
Thank you. All right. Now I got to tell you my great Terry Bozzio story for 10.
Okay.
Do you know this story at all? Have you ever heard this story?
No.
Okay.
No.
So when Jimmy Chamberlain, the drummer from the Pumpkins, was fired by the band in 1996, well, we needed a new drummer, and we had a 90-date arena tour booked, tickets sold. We had to push the dates back, but we have to pick a drummer. It's like we got to pick a drummer now. So our manager at the time was Cliff Bernstein, who managed Metallica. Mm-hmm. And he calls and he says, what do you think about Terry Bozzio? And I'm like, holy Terry Bozzio. Like, first of all, why would Terry Bozzio want to be in my band? Right? Let's start there. But I started thinking, well, because Jimmy Chamberlain, the Pumpkins drummer, he's still the Pumpkins drummer now, great drummer. And also a friend of Terry's at this point. So they know each other, and they're both recognized as some of the greatest drummers of all time. So it all kind of is a cool story. Mm-hmm. But I'm in a situation where I need a great drummer. And the manager calls, hey, what do you think about Terry Bozzio? I said, okay, I'm willing. 96. So Terry comes. We had a rehearsal space at the time. We called Pumpkinland. So Terry comes in, and he's late, which is fine. I think he got off a flight or something, but he's late, and, hey, it's fine. So everybody else would come in. We auditioned 10 drummers in that period. They would come in, they'd set up their kit, you know what I mean? And, you wait 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and then you play. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Terry shows up, say hello. He's got a tech with him. An hour goes by, and we're sitting there like this. And I'm like, what's going on? so somebody who works for me comes in. I go, what, is he ready? And I go, well, he's still setting up his drums.
Oh, right. Right.
So I go out there
Right.
to chat and say hi, and he's literally, and I know you know this, so this is like this is a drum.
Yeah.
And I'm watching him, and he's going like this.
Right.
And there's 14 drums.
Right. Right.
Now,
Has to be in perfect tune.
I don't know, Terry, you know.
Every drum is tuned to a note.
I understand. So I'm not going to tell him, hey,
Hurry up.
buddy, hurry it up. You know what I mean?
Right.
Clock's running. So we wait another hour. Okay, he's finally ready. 2 hours we waited. Okay, he's finally ready.
Yeah.
Now, we had asked each drummer to learn 3 of our songs. And the first song on our second record is a song called Cherub Rock. It's complicated.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, so Terry's over there and you know, so I say to him, can we play Cherub Rock? And he goes, I didn't really have time to learn the songs. So if you guys could just play, by the way, this is a really complicated song.
Right.
If you guys could just play, I'll kind of
Play along.
Exactly. So my bandmates look at me
I know,
like,
that's a lot. That's hard to, that's like,
by the way,
what?
I was the one who said, let's try out Terry Bozzio.
Okay,
right? So I'm getting the stink eye from my bandmates.
I know, right.
Because they don't give
a lot to handle.
Because my bandmates don't give a who Terry Bozzio is and the fact that he played with Frank Zappa or in Missing Persons.
Right.
They don't give 2 shits.
Right.
Okay. So I got to do a little Terry imitation here.
So Terry.
So,
okay.
oh, it gets better.
Okay.
And eventually it involves you.
Okay. Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. So we start the song and we're playing and nothing's happening. He's just like listening. And, you know, he does that kind of.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he goes. And we're still playing. Like the fastest drumming you ever heard in your life.
All right.
We're like, what the fuck is happening?
What's he doing? Yeah.
And he goes, and all of a sudden he picks up on the groove and he starts that groove that he's got.
Yeah.
And it is the greatest fucking rock groove I've ever heard in my life. The groove is so ridiculous. He sounds like a mixed record playing live in a room, and the band sounds unfucking believable. So I go from, oh my God, it's a disaster. How long does this take?
Oh my God.
To my God, oh my God, this fucking guy is.
Yeah.
This is insane.
Yeah,
I've never heard my band sound like this.
Yeah. He does that.
So we do that for 3 songs, but it's kind of awkward. It's Terry. He hasn't learned. So we get through it, and it's kind of the thing like, this is pretty tempting, but how do I tell him to stop the 80s Zappa fills? You know, am I going to tell Terry Bozzio, don't play that fill? Am I going to get into that?
Yeah.
So now we go into the room to chat. We had a little kind of eating area. I recently recorded your guys' song, Destination Unknown.
Right.
Have you ever heard our version of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
So I say to Terry, do you mind if I play it for you? And he goes, okay.
Okay.
So, and I'm a big fan of, if you're going to cover a song, you don't do the cover like the original. What's the point? You're never going to be better than the original. And I love your song, which is why I'm doing a cover. Right.
Yeah.
So I did it my way.
Right.
So I'm sitting on the couch and I press play, and here's Terry, and I'm here. And Terry sits there like for 4 minutes and doesn't move a muscle.
He listens to it.
And I'm
He's listening to it.
Okay, hold on.
Right?
So I'm looking at him kind of like, does he like it? Does he not like it? Because I don't want to offend him. And so the song finishes and he doesn't say anything. And so I go over to the, turn off the cassette, and I kind of look at him. He just sits there like this. So to this day, I don't know if he liked it, didn't like it. He never said anything.
Say anything? Nothing?
Nothing. Not a word.
Whoa. That's...
But to this day...
That's worse than saying something.
But to this day, I'll be somewhere and somebody will say, Oh, I saw Terry said to say hi to you.
Aw.
Always sweet through back channels. And
Yeah.
so whatever happened in that moment.
Wow, that's wild. That's wild.
So you're making a new record, yes?
Well, I just finished that one. It seemed to go by pretty quick, though. I was like, oh my God, it's time to make another record. I was thinking of making a Christmas record.
That
I
would
wanted
be
to make a
cool.
rock and roll Christmas
That would be cool.
record and sing goddamn jingle bells with the rock stars.
I like that.
That's what I wanted to do.
All right.
Really, I want to make like a happy record, happy music for everybody.
Okay.
You know, the thing I just wanted to tie up about the Hollywood lie was I suffered a real traumatic experience. I was going in to make that record completely different with these other songs that I have now stored up. But the night I went to play this concert, I'll wrap it up with you, tape or not, but I wanted to tell you this since you told me about what you said to me about your mother. Something happened to me that hurts deep like that. The husband I was married to in the middle, Len, he was a big bodybuilder. His picture's in there. Big guy, 6'7". And he was from New York. Went to school in Boston, BU, became a bodybuilder, photographer. And he was the first drummer that ever played with Aerosmith in New York City, in Westchester, New York. But he couldn't play the drums, so it didn't happen. And he ended up being an entrepreneur. Ends up, we stay friends for our whole lives. I marry him. I'm married for a few years, and we still stay friends. We separate. His birthday's February 27th, Pisces.
Another Pisces.
And we were dear friends forever. I met him when I was 18 years old at the Playboy Club. He took my picture as the Playboy Bunny, and I married him into the 37s. Anyway, we stay together all this time, end up coming back. He marries another girl, they break up, okay? Then this COVID thing happens, and he calls me, and he says, a place for me to live. My son happens to be managing the apartment building. I go, as a matter of fact, I'll help you. Come on, it's convenient. And I was knowing he was getting older. His muscles were going down, and everything was just. He was feeling the lack of the power of being a bodybuilder. So I felt pretty bad for him. Moved him into the building. Anyway, make a long story short, brought him over candies. He played Howard Hughes with me there for 2 years. Didn't let me in. Finally, one night I go to a concert, and I'm supposed to go in the studio and record the next day. Play the concert. I come home. It's 4 a.m. His lights are out. I wake up the next day. His girlfriend's calling me. Go in his apartment. I think he committed suicide. Wake him up. I get the keys. I go over, find him dead, naked on the floor. He committed suicide. Okay. And he told me the night I was leaving for the concert, he was going to eat a steak, blah, 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 take all these pills and kill himself. And I'm saying, no, you can't do that right now. Wait till tomorrow. I'll be back after the concert, right? So that's what happened. And I had to go in the studio that day, and I went, oh God. I'm not going to sing happy songs today. I get to the studio and go, change of plans here. This record is called Hollywood Lie. And we're going to talk about the Great Gatsby. Who didn't even exist, but he's a figment in our mind. And don't we do that with everyone?
Right.
We put a figment in our mind. You can be who you are, but you're going to be who I think you are. Because I like that better. I might think of you in a ballerina outfit later. I don't know, but I'm going to think of you. And that's going to be how I feel to cultivate how I love you in my deepest feelings. If you want to call it love, I don't know what it means. That's I keep saying to you. A passion for him was so strong. When I saw what he did, he said what he said he'd do, and he did it. His shiny shoes were right there. His tuxedo was ready to get put on, but he passed out before he could get to the clothes. And it was almost funny. It was almost, really? This is life. And
that changed the trajectory of the. So you're still sitting on all those other songs that you were going to do.
And so I went in the studio and started writing these songs about your life is fading away. You're living alone, and you have all the world in your hand as a pot of gold, but you kiss it away for what you think you might get.
Yeah.
But doesn't really happen. And then you wake up and it never was that way anyway. And you forgot to tell yourself that. So that's where I went with that record. And it was an expression that I had to make. Just had to do it. I was so lucky enough that I was let to do that.
Yes.
Because it was a great release for me. And I think all the songs that I've ever written about all the things that happened to me are because of something that made such an impression upon me that I want to share my news. I want to share with you. I'm a kind, giving, sharing, understanding, want to cure the world. Wish I could. Wish I could make this all go away and everybody understand how just go easy and everything will be all right if you just give me a hand. Makes it go away just like that. See?
Can't follow that up.
I love you. I love you with all my heart.
Namaste.
I love you. I love you. We make a record anyway.
Let's do it.
Right?
I love it.
A happy record.
Yeah, you're gonna have to work on that with me.
A happy record for the goodness.
I'm really good in minor keys,
Well, that's okay, but so am I. I'm great in 11. I can sing anything in 11.
Yeah, you did.
Really,
You guys did just some weird prog there for a second.
I do that. I talk sometimes in 11. Like you go, okay, stop, breathe.
Okay, we're done.
All right.
They'll come in and talk to us now.
You're a genius.
Oh, God bless you.
You know you are. And I'm honored to have had this time with you here today. Whether we see each other again.
Oh, we will.